America in prophecy.
Revelation 13:11 says, "Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon."
In the climax of prophecy, we see the rise of 2 beasts. We first see a beast rising up out of the sea, followed by another beast coming up out of the earth. Revelation 13:1-11. In the Bible, a beast is symbolic of a kingdom or nation. We discover this in a previous prophecy where 4 great beasts came up from the sea, and we are told that the 4th beast shall be a 4th kingdom on earth. Daniel 7:3-23. So, these 2 beasts rising represent 2 nations rising up. Since this prophecy was written around 100 AD, these nations must rise up after this time. The prophecy says the first nation would make war with the saints, and that it would continue for 42 months. Revelation 13:7-5. Since there were 30 days in a month at the time this was written, this represents a period of 1,260 days. Revelation 11:3-12:6. But biblical scholars understand that in prophetic timelines, days are symbolic of years, a day for each year. Ezekiel 4:6, which means the first beast or kingdom would reign for 1,260 years during the Middle Ages.
The beast would rise up after the Middle Ages.
As the world emerges from the Middle Ages, prophecy identifies another beast coming up out of the earth. Revelation 13:11. This second beast is the last major nation to rise up in the history of the earth. In commenting on this prophecy, John Wesley, who lived in the 1700s, said in his explanatory notes upon the New Testament, "He is not yet come, though he cannot be far off, for he is to appear at the end of the 42 months of the first beast." Shortly after his remark, this new nation would come to power.
The beast would be an unestablished land.
Another point to note is that the first beast came up out of the sea, while the second beast came up out of the earth. In the Bible, we are told that waters represent peoples. Revelation 17:15. That means the first beast rising out of the sea was a kingdom rising up out of an already established body of people. Since the land and the sea are opposites, the second beast coming up out of the land must be a new nation, rising up out of a mostly unestablished or mostly unpopulated area. While it is true that Indians roamed the land, America was still basically a new land, still unestablished, which arose at the end of the Middle Ages.
The beast would be a Christian nation.
While the previous nation rose like a leopard, this new nation rises up like a lamb. Revelation, Padinmundra Padinundra. In the Bible, Jesus is repeatedly referred to as a lamb. Revelation 5:6, John 1:36. Since the lamb is symbolic of Christ, this nation must be a Christian nation, founded on Christian principles, again depicting the rise of America. This is confirmed by the fact that this nation eventually calls people to worship. Revelation 13:12-15. While some may wish to deny it, Christianity was built into the fabric of America, which is why the Pledge of Allegiance affirms that we are one nation under God, and our currency proclaims, "In God we trust." This is also why America is still often referred to by many as a Christian nation, as the prophecy foretold long ago.
The beast would be a land of freedom.
In addition, while the previous beast had horns with crowns, this new beast has 2 horns without crowns. Revelation 13:1-11. Daniel 8:20 says that horns represent kings or heads of government. The fact that this nation has 2 horns is symbolic of the fact that it has choice, without dictatorship. While previous kingdoms were ruled under a monarchy by dictators like kings or popes, this new nation has 2 horns and no crowns, affirming that it must be a new form of government built on democracy, founded on the rights of the people, a clear depiction of America, which was founded on republicanism, a government without a king, and Protestantism, a church without a pope. This is where we get the founding principle of separation between church and state.
The beast would promise religious liberty.
Of course, we are told that this beast is not a lamb itself, but that it has horns like a lamb. Revelation. Padinmundre padinondre. Since the lamb is a symbol of Christ, and the horns represent government, this nation establishes its government on Christian principles. While the previous era of the Middle Ages, led by Catholicism, believed that the church should be involved in government, as popes ruled the world, this new nation is built on the principle of religious freedom. This is a Protestant principle that has historically not been endorsed by Catholicism. That means this nation must be a Protestant nation, built on the Protestant principles of religious liberty, which is why America was once called Protestant America.
This beast would be a universal power.
The prophecy goes on to say that this nation exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Revelation 13:12. Here we are told that this new nation that rises up at the end of history, which is the baby of the world, compared to the other ancient nations that have existed for thousands of years, will have such great influence that it causes the entire earth to do something. That means this nation, rising in a basically unestablished land, professing to be a Christian nation built on Protestant principles of freedom, will rapidly rise to superpower status. Again, this could be none other than America.
The beast would speak like a dragon.
While this nation rose like a lamb on Christian principles of freedom, we are told that when it opened its mouth, it spoke like a dragon. Revelation 13:11. The dragon was seen leading the persecuting beast. Revelation 13:2-4. This is why we see it eventually turning into a persecuting beast, like the first beast. See Revelation 13:15. If the prophecy is right, this nation, which depicts the United States, will one day let go of her Christian roots, and tyranny will result. People will begin to tear down the very constitutional rights and freedoms that made America great, and the freedom America fought so hard to establish will one day be gone.
The beast would institute the mark of the beast.
Again, the prophecy says this nation will speak like a dragon, setting up the mark of the beast. Nations speak, telling people what to do, through laws. This is confirmed by the fact that it will speak and cause all who refuse to worship to be killed. Revelation 13:15. To cause implies force. This means America speaks or sets up a law, causing or enforcing some form of false worship. This must be a religious law that violates one of God's laws, because God strongly warns against going along with this law. According to the prophecy, America will one day trample the Constitution, violate the principles of religious liberty that it was founded on, and institute a law compelling some form of false worship that not only goes against our freedoms, but also against the law of God. As other nations follow, the world will be thrust into the Great Tribulation. Scripture taken from the New King James Version, registered trademark. Copyright 1982 by Thomas Nelson. Used by permission. All rights reserved.